Hello, good day everyone. My special greetings to you all. You all are welcome to my channel Africa Secrets. My name is Blessing. I always bring to you current news update about Nigeria and the diaspora. Please, if you're watching me for the first time or you normally watch me on this channel but have not yet subscribed, just in front of your screen there is the subscribe button. Kindly click on the red subscribe button below. Beside your screen is the bell icon. Still click on it so that anytime I upload a new video, you will always be notified. Thank you. So this news here reads, reason Europe enslaved Africans. The reason the Europe enslaved Africans was because labor then was quite appreciating in the pre-industrial societies. So they had to find a way to enslave the captives. The Europeans made trading in slavery to be highly profitable. This practice made it to appear more powerful, although the Europeans were not the first to enslave Africans. In the beginning of the conquest of the New World, they tried to enslave the native instead, but they themselves died from illness and hard labor. That made them to run away. They were too much of nuisance. That was why they brought the Africans over. The Africans were good workhorses and were more willing to accept their laws. European traders caught some Africans along the coast, but bought the majority of them from the local African dealers. These dealers were more sophisticated in networking trading by collecting group of people together for sale. Africa before European slavery. The European traders kidnapped and bought Africans for sale in Europe, not until the 17th century when owners of plantations wanted more slaves to satisfy the increasing demand for sugar in Europe. The prevalence of slavery in Africa. In the year 2016, it was counted that about 9.2 million men, women and children were still living in slavery in Africa. A particular region in Africa has the highest number of slavery of about 76 people living in slavery for every 1,000 people in the region. Following the existing evaluation from the appropriate findings on slavery in Africa, Africa region has the highest average rate score of about 62%. Africa performed poorly based on governance issues, inadequate basic needs, and disenfranchised group of people. All these inadequacies posed a great challenge in countries in the regions of Africa in terms of acceptance of minority groups and governance. The Central African Republic, South Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo has the highest level of susceptibility, while Tunisia has the lowest level of susceptibility in the region. Government response on slavery within Africa. Did the government keep quiet on the slavery in Africa? Here comes the government's response on slavery in Africa. Africa has the lowest average regional government response scoring rate, though there has been quite reasonable improvement in specific countries and a sequence to strengthen modern slavery legislation. Recently, Cote d'Ivoire and Morocco are one of the countries that helped in trafficking legislation since 2016. Several regional bodies in Africa has been proactive in responding to modern slavery, which then points to increasing opportunities to hold governments to account. Historically, slavery has been widespread in Africa and it still continues in some countries today. It was practiced in different forms like debt slavery, enslavement of war captives, military slavery, slavery for prostitution, and criminal slavery. We are practiced in different parts of Africa. Plantation slavery occurred majorly in the east coast of Africa and parts of West Africa. Slavery increased during the 19th century because of the abolition of the Atlantic slave trade. The slaves in Africa are proportionally 3:1 compared to the free men. They gained no reward for their services apart from food and clothing, and are equally treated with kindness, based on the good or bad nature of their masters, which raised certain rules with regards to the treatment of slaves, which in the real thought is bad to violate. Domestic slaves are treated with charity than those who are bought with money. Slavery as practiced in Europe was basically domestic and was geared towards women, which were trendy for most of Africa as well. In Somalia territories, slavery were bought in slave markets. separately to do work on planting grounds. That was why the custom in charge of the treatment of Bantu slaves were established by the decree of sultans and local administrative legates. Slavery was commonly seen along the upper Congo River, and in the second half of the 18th century that became a major source of slaves for the Atlantic slave trade, when there was high slave price on the coast, which made slave trading profitable. We shall continue after this short break. Please, if you just joined me here newly on this channel, you're highly welcome. This is Africa Secrets. My name is Blessing. I always bring to you current news updates about Nigeria and the diaspora. Please, if you're watching me for the first time, or you normally watch me on this channel but have not yet subscribed, just in front of your screen there is the subscribe button. Kindly click on the red subscribe button. Below, beside the screen, is the bell icon. Still click on it so that anytime I upload a new video, you'll always be notified. Thank you. Welcome back from the short break. Change of slavery in Africa. The relationship of slavery in Africa has been changed into three scale processes: the Arab slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade, and the slave emancipation. Each of these processes significantly changed the forms, level, and economics of slavery in Africa. Slave practice in Africa were used periodically to allow specific type of European engagement with the people of Africa. Efforts by the Europeans against slavery and slave trade began in the late 18th century and had a large impact on slavery in Africa. Portugal was the first country in the continent to abolish slavery in the metropolitan Portugal and Portuguese India by a bill passed on 12 February 1761. History of slavery in Africa. When we remember the word slavery, what comes to the mind of most people is that slavery is a spark of rule that once existed in the United States, but that is not it. To be a slave is to be legally possessed by a particular individual who is passed or forced to work under that individual without pay. One can imagine what could lead Africa into slavery. In Ghana, a warring political communities in the 18th and 19th centuries enslaved their enemies, of which the impacts can be felt today. In the West Africa, slavery did not legally end until 1875, till it stretched unannounced into the World War I. It continued there because majority of the people were informed that it has ended. This particular scenario also happened in Texas after the United States Civil War. Let's look into the major cases of the three slave owners and their responses to the destruction of slavery in late 1800. Each of them responded in different ways, but their responses weren't good to them. One of the three slave owners, that's Green, a professor in African history, greatly resisted abolition. The slave owners moved his slaves outside British territory where slavery was legal, so that they could continue to have them in hostage. But some of them escaped, some continued to be slaves, and eventually their descendants became part of the family at a lower rank than those members of the family descended from non-slaves. On the other hand, another slave owner saw a better way to keep the power that many enjoyed under his rule. Rather, he chose to bring the slaves into his family. He sent the best to England for schooling. Some became doctors and lawyers and accountants. The slave owners became wealthy, which enabled him offer the slaves opportunity such that on their own they decided to stay with him. There was difference between the slave and his family members. The third slave owner, also well-known man in the community, suffered lots of setback, which led him to lose faith in the traditional African religious organization. This made him to convert to Christianity, which resulted him to free his slaves, though they didn't become part of his family anymore. And this is it at the moment. I sincerely appreciate you all for your time on this channel. Please, if you are watching me for the first time, or you normally watch me on this channel but I'm not yet subscribed, just in front of you there is a subscribe button. Kindly click on the red subscribe button below beside the screen, and also click on the bell icon so that anytime I upload a new video, you will always be notified. Also, like this video and share it with your friends, and then scroll down and express your thoughts in the comment section. My name is Blessing, and I am saying thank you to you all.